Good morning, welcome to Crosstalk. I'm Sam Tastad. I'm joined by head football coach Jed Stugart. How are you doing today?
Good, Sam. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Could you recap the season a little bit for us?
Well, it was an interesting season. I think for our first year in Division II, anytime you have a transitional period that you got to go through, there's always going to be some adverse conditions, some growing pains, some positives, and I think really we ended up 5-4. We played teams from 1AA teams or FCS teams down to Division II teams and top 10 Division II teams. So we were able to kind of see really where we are in our first year, and but in that we capped the season off with losing by a last-second field goal to North Dakota, who was a 1AA team, and that would have been nice, but it was good to see how hard our kids fought. So a pretty interesting year. I think what was hard was having 9 games for our seniors, and as opposed to usually 11, or in their case 15 games. That usually took us to the national championship.
Yeah. What did you gain from this experience from playing the big schools? Well,
I think it was kind of having our kids learn just the level that they have to play at, to compete, to win championships at Division II level. And I think we got to play a former national champion in Northwest Missouri. Went down there, played those guys very well. Like I said, almost beat North Dakota. McNeese State in Louisiana. Our kids learned there, I think, with the second of the big 4 that we called it. Our guys, really, I guess it was the third game. Those guys really learned how to fight and compete and just really hang in there. They almost pulled off a win there too. So, I think it's that was a great learning experience. We'll take this into our off season and kind of remind our guys, hey, remember when you played these teams, what it took to win and the gap that we have to kind of close in being successful.
Yeah, I know you guys started slow. What fueled you to finish strong?
Well, I think, we talked a lot about leaving a legacy this year for our seniors. That the history books of USF football and sports was going to look back at this class and say, what are you remembered for in this transition? Did you kind of take us forward, or did you take us back? And we talked a lot about leaving a legacy. And I think those guys really bought into that, of saying, hey, I want to be remembered for the team that our first year we fought and scratched and worked our tail off. I feel like they did that.
Yeah. Going into next year, how has this year prepared you for next year?
Well, I think a lot of it will be in our off season. We need to get we really, from a skill position standpoint, we feel like we're going to match up very well next year. I think where the difference is on the front lines of the offense and defensive lines, and that's going to be taken care of in our off season. Our offensive and defensive linemen we got to get a little stronger, we got to get a little bigger, and we got to recruit that as well. And I think that's one of those things that what we learned as coaches is to gauge how far off we are. And really, I was gauging it by the 2 games, Washburn and Northwest Missouri, because those are 2 teams that are coming out of the toughest Division II conference in the land right now, and that's what we wanted to gauge it by.
What kind of experience are you returning for next year, and how will they help you?
Well, we return a quarterback, Taylor Perkins, that will be back for his senior year, and that's the first time in a while we've had a quarterback coming back. I think Stinson or John Eastman only had 1 year for us. We didn't get him back last year, so it's nice to know you got an experienced quarterback coming back. I think in the skill positions at running back and wide receiver, we have a lot of returners. Especially we only lose 1 offensive lineman, and that's a good thing. On the defense, we do lose some defensive linemen, but for the most part, having both starting, or really all three of the 4 starting linebackers coming back, and so in secondary, we only lose 2 kids out of our secondary, and so both safeties being back is a big deal for us. So we return a lot of experience. We just got to kind of fill in the cracks there.
And what are you looking forward to next season?
Well, I think everybody, I think everybody would be lying if we didn't say we look forward to the Augustana game. But this is our first chance to win a conference championship, and that's what we're looking forward to.
And that's going to wrap up another issue of Crosstalk. I'm Sam Tastad. Up next is Sports with Brett Geese.
Thanks, Sam.